All right, hello everyone. I'm here with Seth Manfield, maybe the best player in the world right now, or at least, well, definitely up there. I don't think that anyone watching this video doesn't know who Seth is, but just for a little bit of introduction, Seth has 6 Pro Tour top 8s with 1 win, and I think 17. Is that right? GP top 8s? Maybe the info was outdated or something. With 5 wins. And you're also doing...
How many did you say?
I said
Sorry.
17.
Oh, 17. Okay. Yeah, that could be right.
Yeah, I don't think it really matters. Like if it's like 17, 19, or 15, like it's a lot, so it doesn't really matter. And you're like doing really well lately, even on like the arena tournaments. You were third in the World Championship. You're also World Champion. I forgot to mention that. From like 3 years back or something. And there is a rumor going online, and actually when I looked up your bio, it said that you never lost a match with your Sultai deck in Historic. Is that right?
So I was on a that's not true at all, of course, but I went on a nice run with it. Like because I won to win the Mythic championship or whatever to go through the top 8, because I lost the first one, but it's basically double elimination, so I just had to win out from there. And so I did that. I just basically went on a run with in Historic, and then I went 4-0 in the for this. It was like the Worlds, like the online tournament. I went 4-0 in Historic, so I made top 8 in that, and then I went 3-0 in the last one. But then I ended up losing 2 matches at the end of the tournament. So definitely not undefeated, but
pretty
I
close.
I have had quite a nice run with the deck.
So from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, but basically since you came into competitive Magic, you just like started crushing immediately. Maybe that's not true, but like basically from the time that I first heard of you, you like started doing really well. You like won a bunch of GPs and stuff like that. Is that right, or did you had like hard beginnings?
So I don't know. I don't think most people know this about me, or if they do, they weren't necessarily familiar with me at the time when I first started playing. Because I started playing when I was a kid. You know, like I think I started playing when I was 9 years old. So. And I'm 30 now, so that's a long time ago.
That's a long time.
You know, but so I like my first booster draft. I think was my first competitive event was what was after that. It was like a Mirrodin booster draft. I think was my first sanction event, but I qualified for my first Pro Tour Geneva, which was all limited Pro Tour. And that was, I believe, I want to say it was Time Spiral limited. So, and then I qualified for a few handful of Pro Tours and one of the World Championships, which in those days was, you know, not like the World Championships now. It's basically just like a Pro Tour.
Yeah.
And I had like at the end of that system or whatever, I did have a rating that was good enough to qualify me. But anyways, I went on a run. I did have, you know, I didn't top 8 a Pro Tour or anything like that. I top 16 Worlds in 2009 Worlds, which was probably one of the last Worlds.
What format was
that. So I was playing.
You don't remember?
I remember I was playing Woolly Thoctars and Wild Nakatols.
Oh, it's just like
so that was
standard Naya or something.
Yeah, and I was playing. It was extended, I guess. I was playing the Death Cloud deck, black green.
I remember. Was that the world that was won by Naya, like the lightsaber deck or whatever?
No, no, I don't think so. It was a fairies. There was fairies in the top 8. I think Frank Carson might have made top 8 of that one.
Well, it's not really that important.
Yeah.
So you
anyways,
made
I
top 16.
finished.
Yeah.
I finished in top 16, and so that was my best finish but then I went to college and everything, and I was qualified for a pro tour. Well, I was qualified for a pro tour too that I didn't attend because I was just so like, I just felt like if I went, across, on a plane and everything, it's a few days. You also have to prepare. So like if I do it and just like play something random, I don't know if I would feel like good about that either. So it's like it's like a situation where if you don't invest into it and you're gonna fly and you're gonna put all this time into it.
I thought you're gonna say it was because of the school, but you just didn't want to go to a tournament that you wouldn't like put your effort in, basically.
I mean, yeah, it's a combination of things. Like it turned out that it was like I wasn't gonna put my full effort into it, and it was gonna cost me in my studies a little bit because it was just going to make me have to put in, catch up. And so, and I was also, I played tennis. I'm not very good, but I still was playing tennis in school.
I played tennis for 5 years, so I can relate.
Yeah. It's a fun game, kept me in better shape than I am now. So I'm trying to get back. I've been trying to use the COVID as, to get back more into shape, but that's a different story. But anyways, so your first question, I guess, was I always great at Magic? I'd say I always knew that I had talent for the game, for sure, and I was a driven player, and I cared so much about the game.
Well, but what I basically meant was that, with a lot of players, I like hear about them because they made like a top 8 or whatever, and then it takes them a lot of time to like become like one of the best players. But you, at least in my eyes, you like immediately became one of those. So I just wanted to ask if that's accurate or not.
I think it is. I think I immediately, because I won my first GP in 2007. I got some breaks, and I don't think I think I always was doing well enough to feel like I belonged in the in that competitive scene. Yeah. I never went on a string of missing day 2s of pro tours. Like I don't think I ever missed. I'm not sure if I missed two day 2s consecutively or anything. So like. It was all kind of just continuous for me. And then when I got back in, like right out of school, I was gonna say, I'll put a few months into this just to see, and then I won a Grand Prix pretty quickly, like right when I needed to. I won Grand Prix Kansas City, and then I won also the Mox qualifier, so I was playing in that.
You're like, so
that was
shit.
that was back-to-back weekends, and I was like, all right.
So
people are slacking out there. They're not. And so yeah, I do think Magic was a little bit easier. I mean, as time has gone on, players have gotten better. So.
So you said that you even like missed some pro tours. You were like playing tennis and stuff. Was like becoming a pro Magic player something that you like aspired for when you were like younger? And like maybe playing PTQs and stuff, or did it just like, as you said, happen at random, that you just went to a tournament and you just ended up like winning and stuff, and it just happened by accident, basically?
It was something that I aspired to. I would look at coverage, and I knew that there was pros out there, different pros who are. I wouldn't say I was super familiar with the trajectory of how to get there, but I think once I got out of school was when I was like, because I realized that I definitely wanted to give it a shot, because I had I was trying to figure out my way, and I don't think I knew my path until I had gone through that, and and just had that burn. It was basically like the burning desire to come back. Like I think people who leave the game, or who say they're going to leave the game, there's always but have played it and have done well at a top level. There's always this, back of your head, I'm going to come back, and for me, it was a pretty powerful effect, and I knew that I basically booked at that time. Because it was a year-long system, I knew that you really had to do well right at the beginning of you had to qualify for basically the first Pro Tour of a series, right? Because it was like 4. So qualifying for the first one was going to allow me to start chaining. And I knew that chaining and just qualifying for all the Pro Tours in a single year was what I had. Like that in my mind, that was what I needed to do in order to get onto the train, basically.
Yeah. One thing that I want to ask, well, mainly for myself, but maybe other people want to hear it as well, is how much you actually play. Because, we actually tested together for like one of the years, and a lot of the times when I like ask you a question about a certain thing, you weren't really like able to necessarily explain it to me. But then you like play super well, so I just wanted to ask if you're like one of those people who just like kind of get it, or if it's more like you just play infinite and you just like kind of know what to do in those spots because you like saw the outcome so many times already. Which one of those is it, and how much are you playing actually?
So I would say when I was younger, I actually played. There's definitely been stretches where I played a lot more than I do right now. This year I haven't been playing that much, but
the results don't show that.
I'm playing obviously in the big tournaments and everything.
I'm sorry.
But no, it's fine. Like, I'm just giving you my honest answer.
No,
I haven't been. I've been somewhat slacking, but I also just haven't been that motivated. And so, I don't know. I guess everyone has different standards of playing, but obviously I'm a professional player, so I should be playing more. I think it depends. It depends on the situation, right? Like if I'm testing for an MPL league weekend, it kind of depends who I'm testing with. Like whenever I test with Javier Dominguez, for instance, I play all the time because we just have a schedule.
Same.
And we just play. We just play for like 4-5 hours. And we just do that every single day, and so that for me sets a pretty good pace. And when I was streaming more, like last year, it's set a pretty good pace. But like right now, I have a league weekend that's historic that I'm about to play, and it's like the same decks that I've been playing with. Like it's still Sultai, it's still all of that stuff. So like. It's not really changing that much, but it's also somewhat laziness. Like somewhat of it is getting older, just kind of getting like feeling maybe overconfident, and stuff like that. So
you don't have to feel bad about it. I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah. I'm just giving you my honest opinion. Yeah. Like if you ask me a question, because I get people asking me questions about things, thinking that I'm some sort of savant or that knows everything, or that has all the answers that you can just ask and it'll be correct. And I'll just, and that's not really how it is. I don't really think anyone's like that. Even if you ask one of the top players in the world, like, yeah, playing definitely helps. And I think if I have a big event to prepare for and things I feel like I really need to know, I'm a lot more motivated to play. I wish that I played more for fun. Like I love drafting. For me, not playing limited has been really, that's been a killer for me. I think because a lot of my playing was drafting, and so basically I feel like I'm playing half the time I used to because I'm not able to draft, and that's kind of how my most enjoyable part of playing Magic is playing limited. So.
That's interesting for me to hear that you like kind of feel not as motivated, because I remember that when we tested together, you just like lost in the top 4 of like a team tournament and you were like super sad about it. you said that it would mean a lot, or maybe you lost for playing for top 8 and you have never made one before, or something along those lines. Just to give people context, that was like around the time where like Seth won a Pro Tour and he just like top 8 it, or like won like a GP, like 3 GPs in a row or whatever, and then he just like arrived to the testing team and he was like, yeah, it sucks that we lost for the top 4. I was like, what the fuck, man? But so you like, it just seemed that you cared like so much.
I did. I cared so much. I cared a lot about that. Like when I went on my run for like when Owen beat me out for Player of the Year, I cared so much. Like I really wanted that very badly, and I won 2 Grand Prix back to back, and I was like, all right, this is it. Like this is gonna pull me over the hump for Player of the Year. And then he ended up top 8 in the last Pro Tour of the year, and so that was just like, you know, pretty devastating for me. And then when Luis Salvato beat me, like I cared so much about that stuff. At the time, I cared so much about it, and I find myself, I guess maybe it's just being more caught up in family life, and it's part of the team limited stuff, and that stuff is just like the social aspect of the game. And so, you know, there's been certain things that have been on, you know, hiatus, so to speak. So that's been part of it, I guess. Part of it is just like I've kind of already made it, I feel like, in the game. Like I've kind of already proven myself now. Yeah. And so if I win another tournament, no one really cares. I mean, let's be honest. Like it's like,
yeah, it's true.
You know, it's like, I mean, it's nice. Like if I win another, like I won 10 grand for that you know, Mythic Championship, which was probably a lot harder than some other tournaments I played in. But it's like most people thought, well, he doesn't need to win another tournament or whatever, you know. So like, and that's kind of somewhat true. Like I don't need, you know, I like. Sometimes you just feel like you're in somewhat of a privileged position at a certain point in the game, and you're like, okay, like I'm getting lucky, or I'm doing well in a situation, so it's nice. I don't know. I guess I'm just a little bit less excited about the game as of right now, and I'm hoping that changes.
As you said, you kind of like proved everything. Like no one is really doubting that you're like really good. Is there maybe like something else in Magic that like you want to focus on? Maybe not like winning as much. Maybe there's something else that you want to do to like get the fire back, or are you thinking about that?
So I think that I don't really know what being a pro Magic player is going to be looking like within the next few years. And so that's my biggest thing, is just figuring out a way to, you know, make a living playing Magic, because that's not easy to do. There's a lot of people that, you know, within the community that if they got an MPL spot, they would, you know, they'd be like, yes, like I'll take it. Like, so, right?
Hello there.
You know? So, I mean, so like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to fall out of the MPL, because a lot of the slots and a lot of the slots and a lot of the support is being taken out of it, taken out of the prize pool, taken out of whatever. I don't really know what's going to happen. I know that for me, I should be focusing more on the, you know, becoming like a famous person or whatever, and like people like having a stream that people like and everything like that, because that may be where the money is at. And so as much as I don't know, I'm just kind of taking it, you know, I'm also a dad, you know, I've gotten more time to spend with, you know, doing other things. And
no, you don't have to like explain yourself. I think you're doing great. No, you don't have to, like, you know.
I would say keeping my like my relationship also as the only member in the community with as a member of Team Envy. That's something that I'm within the past, like that's something I'm probably very happy about compared to everything else, because I'm just like I would like in an ideal world, I would like esports, if Magic is going to be really like an esport legitimately, I get more excited about the game if if it was bigger. Like if Magic was getting, more viewership, if people were getting more interested in the game rather than the other way, I think it's just like it's a snowball effect where like if people like playing, if they're then that's I basically want Magic as a game to be successful, and I feel like if Magic is successful at a competitive level, then that's going to be a snowball effect, and I'll just be able to be a part of that, and I'll be happy. I want people in the community to be able to get into it. That's all.
They actually announced, I think, like a week ago that the arena is going to phones. Do you maybe think that's gonna have like an influence on that? That maybe more people are gonna play because of that? Because Magic player on average are getting older because people are not really stopping playing the game. So when I was a kid, the average age was maybe like 20. Now it's probably like 30. But those people are going to work and stuff. So maybe if they can like play on a train or whatever, it's gonna like. What do you think about that? Do you think it matters or?
I mean, yeah, I think that it's nice. I don't know if I'm skeptical, I guess.
Yeah, me too.
Like the whole, I know they're designing or they're supposed to be designing like Magic Legends or some other game. And so I think at one point they were doing a show or a movie, but like it feels like half of the things that they, certain things don't happen the way they're supposed to. So, and Magic is a very complicated game. I understand why it hasn't been on mobile so far. I don't know what the mobile experience will be like. So I also just feel like I like the big screen. So for me, I don't know how much I'll be playing on mobile. It's not like I'll be, but it's sweet. If it draws a lot of people in, it could get a new customer base, but it's a pretty complicated game. It's not like one of those simple games that you just go to the app store and you can start, playing for a little bit. So,
I was like thinking that maybe people who like used to play or whatever and don't have that much time anymore, they can maybe play because of that. Obviously, I don't think that like new 12-year-old kids are gonna like start playing because of that, but I don't know. One of the last things that I would like to ask about, you made a top 4. Well, you were actually third in the World Championship last year, playing Mono Red. And like one thing that I want to ask about, or maybe you can just talk about it. It doesn't like most people view Mono Red as like this super simple deck. When they envision a pro, they don't usually like think that they would like choose a deck like that. Do you actually think that there is like more depth to it than people think, or did you just choose it because it was like? You thought it was the best choice or whatever, but you think it's easy?
So that is an example of a tournament where like I wanted to play a lot to test, right? Because that's the World Championship. That was definitely the tournament that got me the most excited of this year, by far. Like I was so amped up for that, and to qualify for that and everything. So I was just testing everything. It's not like I wanted to play Mono Red. But it kind of got to a point where I think it was one of the top decks, and I felt like it was just winning the most. So I just played it, and then I didn't really play. I think I like Mono Red whenever it's good, but it's just got to be. It's not like I'm someone that will play any deck. Right?
Do you think it's like harder than people think?
Yeah. I actually think I made some mistakes in that tournament, and the deck is. I think you get aggro decks in general just get a bad rap for being easy a lot of the time.
Well, I think it's because even if you play it badly, you can actually win games by just attacking. Whereas if you're like really bad, you're not gonna win any game with mid range. But playing it correctly is very hard, of course.
Yeah, I think it gets that reputation also because there's less decisions, just because the games are shorter. But
that also means less decision for your opponent, right? It doesn't really matter. It like evens out, kind of.
Yeah. But I love that Mono Red deck. I kept wanting to go back to it after the Worlds because, like a lot of those same cards are still legal in the current standard format, and I have a bit. because like I think I got known as the mono red person.
Yeah, you even top 8'd one of the Pro Tours with mono red, but I think that was the Pro Tour when everyone played mono red, so I'm not really sure if it counts.
Yeah, the mono red Hazoret, and then Burn was my first Pro Tour top 8.
Oh, was it your first?
Yeah, it was. So I top 8'd 2 with one with Burn, and then one standard with the.
Okay.
The Ramunab red with Bomat Couriers and Hazarets and everything. But I will say that Magic is a game of mistakes, and just when you start talking about how good I am, it's like, damn, I make so many mistakes.
No, I of course realize that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just crazy to think about. Whenever someone builds me up, I'm like, I always like to.
Don't worry, I realize that you're like playing pretty badly. I'm just saying that you're playing less badly than the other people. Basically.
I know, no, and it's which is why it's. I still believe it's like just like a great game for that reason. Because if I'm one of the best players in the world and I make as many mistakes as I do, then there's that much more room for someone to just be amazing and to do well. So
when you say mistakes, do you mean like maybe sideboarding and in-game decisions, or are you also talking about like the deck choice and like the cards you should have been playing instead?
Yeah, could be any of them, right? There's a lot of opportunities to make mistakes, and I think people think about more in-game play mistakes because that's what I
basically
see.
meant was that like you said you make a lot of mistakes. I was just basically addressing whether you like.
Yeah, I think one of my bigger strengths is deck choice, but that doesn't mean I'm perfect with deck building and deck choice. I just think that's one of my strengths compared to other people. Whereas I think in-game play is like I'm a little bit weaker. Like things kind of even out, I guess.
All right, I think I asked most things that I wanted to ask. Maybe there's still something that you want to say. I of course don't want to cut it without that, but if you're fine.
I just appreciate you, and I've been following your series of interviews.
Thanks.
So yeah, done a good job.
Thank you very much. If you guys like the video, please click on the like and subscribe button. Thank you, Seth, for your time, and bye-bye.
All right, bye everyone.